Hello everybody, this is Courtney with Fiber Fox Studios, and today what I'm going to do is a little yarn review on this yarn right here. This is the Lion Brand ZZ Twist, and it's available for purchase on lionbrand.com. You can also find this, I know for sure, at Hobby Lobby, is where I have seen it personally. It typically runs for about $4.99 per little skein here, and we're going to talk about the yarn and everything. And I do want to mention I am not sponsored. I am not affiliated with Lion Brand, not sponsored by Lion Brand. They did not provide this yarn to me. I don't even know I'm doing this yarn review. Now, that being said, the only persons or only thing sponsoring this review is my paycheck. I bought this yarn with my own money, so it doesn't matter to me whether you buy the yarn or not. I won't make any money off that. I don't have an affiliated link. I'm just going to give you my true and honest opinions about this yarn, how I feel. Now, I happen to really like this yarn, but there's a few things I don't like about it, so I'm going to talk about all of that in this little review. So let's get started with the specifications and info on the label. So this yarn is 3.5 ounces, 100 grams, which works out to 246 yards, 225 meters if you measure it that way. They say that it is a medium size 4. I don't particularly agree with that, but we'll get into that here in just a moment. And they recommend a crochet hook of a 6mm, which is a J10, or a knitting needle, which is a 7, which is a 4.5mm knitting needle. Now, the care on this is machine washable, I believe, and it's, I believe, on a gentle cycle. You can dry it, no iron, no bleach, that sort of thing. So it's 100% acrylic. And here, right here, they do actually spell it all out for us. So it's machine washable and dryable. And they do list over here some projects that you can create using this yarn. And they say that you can do, with one little ball or skein of it, you can do a hat. With 2, you can do a scarf. And with 6, you can do a sweater. Now, they're showing a long sleeve sweater. Obviously, if you're doing a plus size garment, like that's what I traditionally do because I am plus size. So when I'm making something for myself, I don't know, depending on which stitch I use, I don't know if I could do a long sleeve sweater in just 6 balls. It probably would take more. So let's go ahead. This color that I'm showing you guys is the royal blue. And I did pick this up when they were doing their sale. So I got this for $1 a little skein. It was an amazing deal. They had that flash sale on lionbrand.com, and I got in on that. So now let's go ahead. I want to show you real quickly something that I've already crocheted with it. I won't be able to get the entire project in, but I will insert a picture of me wearing something. At least the top portion you'll be able to see. But I want to show you guys. I've worked with this quite a bit, and I want to show how the stitches came out for me. So one moment. Alright, so this is a sleeve of a garment that I created using this yarn. I used a 6.5mm hook, and I did intentionally crochet pretty loosely because I wanted this garment to have a lot of stretch to it. The yarn itself is really easy to work with, in my opinion anyway. And I think you get some pretty good stitch definition. I've got some puffs here, some double crochets, and then I've got some chain work in between. So overall, as far as working with this particular yarn, I do really like it. I like how it works and everything, but the one thing I can say I had a lot of issues with was finding the inside pull out. I could not find that center pull to save my life. I was getting really horrible yarn barf, and so then that prompted me to go ahead and try to ball it up. And that's where I also ran into some problems. Let me move this out of our way. And balling it up was quite a bit of a challenge. As you can see here, it's kind of loose. It doesn't look, it's not a very even, pretty ball. But the reason is this is kind of a slick yarn. It is twisted, as you can see, I'm sure. Let me get it up close into the camera. So it's twisted really, really nicely. And it has a really pretty drape to it when you work with it. But because it's, you know, it's just a slicker yarn, it's, you know, small, it's slick. I had a problem with the yarn actually slipping when I was trying to wind it. And I was going, you know, at first I started off fast, of course, realized that was a huge mistake. And then I started trying to wind very slowly. And I was keeping even tension, and I still continue to have the problem. I just had to really, really pay attention. Normally when I ball up yarn, I get this really pretty cake, and I don't really have to watch what I'm doing. I'm able to just work, you know, do the winder and not really have to worry about anything. In this case, I didn't. So here's some other yarn that I had. This is also Lion Brand. This is the Mandala Tweed Stripes, and I balled this up. So if you compare these two and the look of the little cake that I got, I mean, I'm using a ball winder. This one turned out a lot better. I didn't have the slipping issue that I was having with this one. Now, that being said, this is a size 4, and this is supposed to be a size 4. So let's look at both of these together, as size-wise anyway. So let me grab some right here. I was able to do a center pull ball really easily on this one. So this is their size 4. And this is their size 4 on this particular yarn. Get some out here. So let's look at these two together. To me, I think this yarn over here, the Tweed Stripes, is bigger than this other yarn over here, the ZZ Twist. I do feel like ZZ Twist is closer to a 3-weight. So hopefully you guys can see. But I mean, it's not like a super thin 3-weight. And I want to show you another yarn. This is a size 4 weight yarn that I've been working with, doing my mosaics. And here's the ZZ Twist with that. So those two together, this is, I would consider kind of a thicker 4-weight. And there is to me, a definite size difference. So that's just my personal opinion. If you're going to buy this yarn, I mean, I do recommend it. It's very squishy. It's very soft. It feels really, really good on your skin. But it is a thinner yarn. So kind of keep that in mind. And I'm going to show you real quickly some 3-weight yarn that I have. And this is some of the Stylecraft Special DK. And to me, these two are the same size. I feel like that is the exact same size. I feel like it meets up and is a 3-weight all day long. So that's my opinion though. Some of you may not agree. Some of you it may not matter. To me, the yarn weight doesn't really matter so much. I will use any type of yarn, but I do prefer the lighter weight. So obviously that makes me love this ZZ Twist a lot. So now we're going to crochet with it real quickly just to show you guys how that works. And I am going to grab the recommended hook size, which is the 6mm for a crochet hook, and then we'll do some quick crocheting with it. I have a 6mm crochet hook now, and we're going to go ahead and crochet with this yarn just so you guys can see how it works. So 6mm, I mean, I think you definitely could go with a smaller hook size on this and not have any issue. But at a 6mm, you're definitely going to get some really pretty drape. And I'm just going to crochet up a few little stitches here. Nothing too crazy. And we're going to go ahead and go back here. I'm going to do a single crochet, or no, I'll do a half double. So let's just get in there. And not really having any issue. It glides really nicely. So I do like that about this yarn. Not really any issues, but you know, it is smaller. So for those of you who can't really handle the smaller weight yarns, this is not going to be one for you. So let's just do a few more stitches here. Getting started is a little hard always for me, so I do apologize. We're going to do Only got a few more stitches, and I'll do some double crochets real quick for you guys so you can see that. And I've got 2 more stitches here in my little swatch that I'm creating. So I don't have any issues with it splitting or anything. That is not an issue with this particular yarn, which is great. And like I said, it glides really nicely. It is not a pain to work with. So let me go up and we're going to do a couple double crochets. And we're going to go ahead and we'll do just a few double crochets. I do want to show you guys how it's got a stretch to it. The yarn itself doesn't feel stretchy, but when you are crocheting with it, you're going to notice that your project, it's going to have really pretty drape, but it's got stretch. Just the way that this works out, and it doesn't really fill in because I'm using the recommended size hook. You know, to me, it's not very tight. It's kind of gapping a lot. So that's one of the things that you want to kind of consider depending on what project you're going to do. For my top, it worked out great. I mean, it was absolutely beautiful. Alright, I just want to show you guys this real quick. I dropped all the way down to a 4.25 millimeter. It's probably really hard to see that, but it's a 4.25 millimeter hook that I dropped down to. Now I'm not getting that extreme gapping that I was getting before. I think the stitches look really nice. It doesn't look quite so messy. On the larger size hooks, the recommended hook size, or if you're wanting to, you know, use slightly larger than recommended, like a 5.5, or slightly smaller than recommended, like a 5.5. Either way, when you're using a larger size hook with it, it's going to be best for your lace work, unless you're wanting something that has that gapping like the others are showing. If you're trying to get something that is more defined, much more less gappy, hopefully you guys can see, like obviously I did some little puff stitches and stuff here, and I gapped those on purpose. But down here, these are double crochets. Then I did a single crochet row, then I went to these puffs, and then I did 2 rows of half double crochets right there. So as you can see, it works out really nicely in a very small hook. That's not going to be possible for everybody. Some of you either absolutely refuse to work in that small of a hook, or it hurts your hands. So that's what I had to do, though, to get a more solid fabric look down here versus what I was getting with the other hook sizes. So I just wanted to jump in and show you that real quick. So, you know, my tension might be a little off. That could be part of it, but that's how that's looking. So let's go up one more row and see what we have. And maybe I'm going to try, I'll probably do a swatch off camera and then come back and show you guys in a smaller hook size how it works up. So I'll go with like a 5 millimeter. I think for most of you, for those of you who have problems with like your hands and everything, 5 millimeter is probably your smallest hook that you prefer to use. So I'll do one in a little swatch off camera and come back and show you how it works up in a 5 millimeter. And I'll do a couple other stitches besides these double crochets and half doubles so that you can see that as well. So I will be back in just a moment with a different swatch to show you guys how that worked up. Alright, so I'm back and I've done quite a little bit more stitch work just to show you guys. I still have the gapping that I was seeing down here. This was done with a 5 millimeter crochet hook, and then I switched on to a 5.5 millimeter crochet hook just to try a different size. It does have pretty good stitch definition. I mean, I feel like you can see those bobbles that I did right there, but and you can see the fans and you can see the individual stitches and all that, but you know, working in my opinion. But the one thing I want to show you guys is before I got started, I did have to clip off the end of my yarn because this is one that does unravel. So as you can see there, the end unraveled from where I clipped previously when I was working on my project. So when you are done working with this yarn, it might be a good idea to actually place a little knot. I had another piece that I have already thrown out that I had to clip off, and it was several inches that had unraveled. And of course, I was moving that yarn around. I was working on a project and moving it from putting it up to bringing it back out. Okay, so in closing, I just want to say I think that for a project where you are doing a lot of double crochets, you don't want a lot of gapping in between your stitches. So anything that's not lace work. If I was making a bag or something with this particular yarn, may not be the best yarn for that because, like I said, it does have stretch to it. But that might be exactly what you're going for. Garment-wise, great yarn for garments. But if you're trying to get a more solid fabric look to your piece, you're going to have to drop down a lot on the hook. The recommended 6mm hook size is just too big when you're trying to get a solid fabric. Now, that being said, if you are using 6mm, I personally use a 6.5mm when I was doing my lace work project that I showed at the beginning of the video. That worked out great. So for lace work, something that you're wanting a lot of stretch and drape, the larger hook sizes is the way to go. That worked out perfect for me. No issue there. That's the look I was going for. If you're going for something solid, you're going to be dropping down to around a 4mm, 4.5, probably at the largest to achieve something like this. Lace work, you can use anything from a 5mm on up. Choice is yours on that. I will definitely buy this yarn again. I think overall, even if obviously I got it for $1, so I got it at a steal. I would buy it on sale, and if I ran out, I wouldn't be opposed to buying a ball at a time using a coupon. I try to keep my price on my yarn, balls, skeins, cakes, whatever. I try to buy under $5. I try to be more in the $3 range. That's just me personal, and it's definitely not always an option. Some yarn is more expensive. Depends on how much you love it. I don't necessarily love it at $5 each, $4.99 regular retail. I do love it at anything under that, though. So, there's not a lot of yards. Now, if this had over 300 yards, the $5 price tag, $4.99, wouldn't be an issue for me. It's the 246 yards and the fact that it is a smaller yarn. So, listed as a 4 doesn't matter to me. It's smaller. And so on, 3-weight yarns, which is what I feel like this is, I typically get balls that are, 400 and 500 yards. Some of them almost 600 yards. So smaller yarns typically mean more yardage. This case, it doesn't. So that's one of the downfalls to me, which is, if it had more yards, I would be more likely to pay the $4.99. Now, I will buy it again. Overall, price-wise, I probably rated it around, a 7. Total value-wise, like the yarn, the texture, everything, I give it a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10. And I do like it. So I appreciate you guys watching this little yarn review. Hopefully it's been helpful to you and you've learned something and it's going to help you make a informed buying decision before you go out and buy this. If you've never tried it before, this is going to be one of those you either love it or you hate it type yarn. So I would recommend just picking up a ball and trying it out before you go and buy, 40 of them like I did. I bought 40 because they were $1 each. But, that was me. It was a super great sale. So I really love it. I do think it's great. Hopefully you will end up loving it too. Definitely recommend it for lace work. You can use the larger hook sizes for that. Until next time, thank you guys so much for watching, and look for more reviews coming here in the very near future. I've been working with some yarns quite a bit, and so once I've worked with them kind of consistently, then I feel like I can do a good review for you guys. So stay tuned for that. Until next time, everybody stay happy, healthy, and if you have any questions at all, please leave a comment below. Please make sure you give this video a thumbs up, and please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my upcoming tutorials, podcasts, or reviews. Thanks so much. Bye.